All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News. Getting some apologies. Unwarranted and unwanted noise. I think it's from this. Sorry. I was working on some music and I break apart my studio today and put it all back together. So there will always be problems with that. Anyways, we're here. Greetings. Welcome back. Good to see you all. We're live on Rockfin. Hello, Rockfinners. Hello. We got some people on Rockfin. How you doing? We got a good crew here. Thanks to all your regulars. And you're all regulars. It's like Cheers, except different. Anyways, it's Friday. Welcome to the Friday Fix. I'm going to cover, I'm going to cover some news stories, but we're going to also just kind of talk about this and that. As Obsolete Optics talking about the Dead Kennedy song, Let's Lynch. I was thinking about Eddie Murphy. Did he say, was it CILL, kill my landlord? Was that was that how the skit went? Something like that. I was thinking about that the other day. I just randomly, I don't know. Eddie Murphy used to be quite a pop celebrity back in the day. When I was but a wee lad, Eddie Murphy was everywhere. He was singing songs. He was on Saturday Night Live. He was doing stand up. He was everywhere. He was a force. He was funny. He still is funny. People talking about Crash in the chats. I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure. Likely. Is it happening now, right now? I don't know. We're in the throes of a bit of an unraveling, I think. But I mean, things are still bumping along, right? We got some flares. A couple of weeks ago, we got some flares. And so we'll say, yes, so I saw that the PayPal guy getting stabbed. Which PayPal guy though? There's several. And did I even have that in my doc? Dang it. Oh, yes. Oh, Obsolete Optics. Yeah, you sent me that. It is in my doc. Thanks. Oh, founder of Cash App gets stabbed to death. Stabbed to death. Yeah, I just saw that. Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, Peter Thiel's boyfriend died mysteriously. It was ruled as suicide, right? So I don't, The conspiracy is about CBDC. man, I wish I knew. I don't know that much about the story. I just saw something. Founder of Cash App gets stabbed to death. Fed announces Fed Now instant payments. They aren't even trying to hide it anymore. The U.S. Federal Reserve banking system is launching its own Cash App called Fed Now in July. This is a movement towards getting rid of physical money and having digital currency. It seems to be, that seems to be happening. They seem to be rolling that out. They seem to be rolling that out for sure, right? They're trying to demonize cryptocurrencies. Hold on. Sorry, I saw this right before the show, and I just didn't have really time to investigate. But Obsolete Optics did send me something on that. Cash App founder Bob Lee killed in San Francisco stabbing. Tech executive Bob Lee and founder of Cash App. So I don't know, yeah, is this part of a conspiracy? We don't know. Could he have just gotten stabbed to death in San Francisco? I don't know. And Lee apparently is employed by MobileCoin, which is a cryptocurrency and digital payment startup. He's the chief product officer, or was. Wow. So who knows? You think this guy is pretty important, but why? Is this part of some kind of bigger scheme? I don't know. In the light of all of the crypto people getting offed, there were a bunch of crypto CEOs in the last year to 2 years who have mysteriously died. There was the guy who was the founder of one cryptocurrency, a stable coin. I can't remember. Now I can't remember the coin or the guy's name, but the guy that died in Puerto Rico. There is an attack on cryptocurrency, and if you go, Kim Iverson did a good video too about the SVB, the banks that went down were heavily into crypto or crypto centric, right? So, her theory was that this isn't about them trying to create another crash. This is about them trying to bring down crypto so that they can introduce a CBDC. Anyways. Okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, D-Truth. Yeah. No, that's a fire. Just roll Charlie around a little bit. He'd be all right. If you remember that one. That was pretty funny. Yeah, so that's crazy news. Anyways, there's Fed Now. Imagine the name. Well, it didn't take a lot of imagination to come up with that name. But imagine naming your new app Fed Now. Come on. Fed Now. Do you think anybody's going to be happy about, oh, wow, I really want this app called Fed Now? What? How many people do you think want to actually, are they going to roll that app out as here, check it out and use it if at your discretion. Or are they going to force people to use it? I wonder, because I bet you if they roll it out as a a thing like check it out and see how it goes, it's like nobody's going to use FedNow. Everybody's going to be like, yeah, I'm good. Hey, have you heard about the new app FedNow? Hey, have you checked out FedNow? It's pretty cool. Everybody's using it. No, nobody's going to use it. Nobody's going to use FedNow. Everybody's going to be like, I'm good. You got some dollar bills, or can I use Cash App or PayPal or something? FedNow? No. Could they have thought of a more horrible name? I mean, that just sounds like don't come near me. Better name is Ministry of Money Control. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's the I mean, in that theory, Timothy, they will say this, sorry the bank lost all of your money, we can give you this instead of nothing. Or hyperinflation has devalued your currency to, whatever, a few pennies, but we'll give you more than a few pennies if you switch over your currency to our CBDCs, and we'll give you, more money. And that'll be a good deal, and you'll be like, okay. The Fed bailed out SVB and people like Bob Lee. Right. You're right. They did. So they bailed them out. But so the information that is in the Kim Iverson video is that they bailed them out, but they bailed them out with strict controls on crypto going into the future. They're like, we'll bail you out, but like your crypto assets aren't part of the deal, and we want stricter control over your crypto assets or something like that. So, anyways. But if you remember the story about, I wish I could remember the name of the cryptocurrency. The guy that was mysteriously found dead in Puerto Rico. He was saying like he was part of a sting. His girlfriend was like working for the CIA, and they were trying to. He basically said, I might come up missing soon," and he came up dead. And it seems like there's targeting of crypto people. And crypto in general, they're trying to make it look like it's, it's where criminals go and hang out, and, they do all the bad stuff, and it's not safe, and you shouldn't use it, and, it's got to be regulated a lot more, all that stuff. Anyways, really good way to support the channel is buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. If you are feeling like this show is worthwhile and worth your support, that's a good way to support the channel. Also, Venmo and Cash App are very direct ways to support me. I enjoy those ways of support. Also, Rockfin Super Rays are greatly appreciated, and also Super Chats. I mean, yeah, they're probably gonna attack crypto more, but we'll see. We'll see. They, Oh, really? Have some crackling? Sorry. It was suggested that I update my driver for my audio interface, and I did that. And it didn't seem to do anything. But thanks for letting me know. All right. Should be back. Yeah? All right. What else is going on? Climate Watcher. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. I mean, I updated my driver for this box. That didn't seem to do anything. So it's just it's a glitch, and I'm not sure. Maybe a new cable might help. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just something you have to live with. Climate Watcher, we may be looking at the end of capitalism. One of the world's oldest and largest investment bank warns greedflation has gone too far. Greedflation. And this is, yeah, this is interesting because, usually um, usually when the costs of the products that things are made of, or right, um, when costs of operations go up, margins get squeezed, profits get squeezed, but not this time, pal. This time they're using it using inflation as an excuse to just raise prices some more and bilk you even further. That's what seems like is happening. When costs go up, so do profits. That's not how capitalism is supposed to work. But that is a recent trend. For over a year now, consumers and businesses, both in the U.S. and the worldwide, have struggled with stubborn inflation, but the soaring costs haven't prevented corporations from raking in record profits. The companies in last year's Fortune 500 alone generated an all-time high $1.8 trillion in profit on $16.1 trillion in revenue. Voices largely on the left of the political spectrum have been sounding the alarm on this. Think Bernie Sanders in Congress or Jon Stewart's recent grilling of the former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. Temporary Treasury Secretary. Say that 5 times fast. But now an economist as one of the world's at one of the world's oldest and greatest investment banks is singing the same tune. Howard Edwards, a global strategist at the 159-year-old bank Societe Generale, just released a blistering note on the phenomenon that has come to be called greedflation. Corporations, particularly in developed economies like the U.S. and UK, have used rising raw material costs amid the pandemic and the war in Ukraine as an excuse to raise prices and expand profit margins to new heights, he said. And the French investment bank isn't just historic. It's one of the select banks considered to be systemically important by the Financial Stability Board, the G20's international body dedicated to safeguarding the global financial system. Anyways, they're talking about the idea that maybe they should control prices. Or maybe they should, I don't know about controlling prices, but why, maybe you could put a cap on profits, right? Allowable profits, or maybe tax all them profits. I don't know. No, they're not going to do that. There was a time when we had we had some kind of social controls, some kind of governmental controls over, capitalism, run amok. I agree, Gene. I mean, why not control prices? Why not say you can't charge this much? At least for a short term. I don't know. Maybe. Or why not? Maybe not just control prices, but What about just a cap on profit margin? Like, look, you can't, maybe especially during this time of great inflation, if your profit margin exceeds this much, like, we're going to tax all of that. We're going to take all that, or we're going to slap you with a fine. Something like that. It's not really, there are lots of ideas, I think, about beating back capitalism run amok. Or, there used to be laws about monopolies and stuff. Not so much anymore, right? Price controls, or when a government mandates the prices businesses are allowed to charge consumers, have been blamed for everything from the fall of the First Babylonian Empire in 1595 BC to the long lines at the gas pump of the Nixon and Carter administrations in the 70s. Did that have to do with price controls, or did that have to do with OPEC? Or did the OPEC thing come from them exerting price controls? I wish I knew more about that one. One of the most common stories about the supposed folly of price controls comes from the Roman Emperor Diocletian, who enacted an edict on maximum prices for labor, commodities, and more to combat rampant inflation in AD 301, but the edict, which included a death penalty for anyone who broke it, eventually backfired, creating a scarcity of goods and reliance on government wheat that led to its repeal. I mean, I'm sure, again, I'm going to say it again, there's got to be a few good ideas out there about not allowing this to be so. There you go. Yeah, fresh air, upper management, CEO wage bonus cap. There's also that. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do this. And one of the, things that people, in a free market might balk against, right? Like maximum wages. The maximum a CEO could get paid, the maximum someone is allowed to earn in a year. I mean, that's not, I know a lot of people would be like, what? That's crazy. No, that's not crazy. You had at one time like a 90% corporate tax rate, right? Back in the day. And there you go. There's a cap on profits. You could only, you can only make so much money, and we're going to take a lot of it. I don't see the problem in that, especially if you take that money and use it to help people or help the country out, and not send it to Ukraine or something, or give it to the military industrial complex. Sure. Obsolete optics, how about nationalization of industry and worker ownership, the means, workers own the means of protection? Sure. Lots of good ideas out there. Nobody seems to be willing to get in there. But everybody knows that there are issues. There are problems. And I don't know how or when or if they're going to turn the ship around. Denver on Rockfin says, now the monopolies pay little, no taxes, represents a structural barrier to entry for any competitors of said monopolies, as the monopolies have their tax dodge and elbows rubbed, and even both pay their share. It hits the smaller companies and primes them up for acquisition. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very hard to compete with the majors. Yes, Gene, the like button went from 12 to 11. I mean, yeah, please like the video, guys, on all channels. Rockfin, Colin, YouTube. Please like it up. I don't know about, what's going to help with YouTube. I mean, they're saying that I have 30 watchers. Nothing on YouTube is correct. Let's just say, I got an email from YouTube saying last month I got 0 new subscribers. I was like, all right. It's been that way for like 4 years. This month you get 0 new subscribers. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, on Rockfin, I get new subscribers every single day. Why is my Rockfin signed out? Jesus Christ. Come on, Rockfin. I'm in a live stream and you kicked me out. It's so weird. Anyways, I don't know what's up with that. It's glitchy. Meanwhile, on Rockfin, I get new subscribers every single day. Every single day. Why is my Rockfin signed out? Sorry for the echo. Let me I get new subscribers every day. I've got, do some math, 5 or 6 times the subscribers that I have on YouTube. And I've only been on Rockfin for a couple of years, on YouTube for 6. Anyways, whatever. Yeah, YouTube doesn't like me. We know that. They're very censorious. They're very squashy. People they don't like. Anyways. Something else about from Doomer Girl News. In Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, they've stopped collecting trash. We do, it's unfortunate that Trump is out there saying real things about what's going on, saying that the United States is a banana republic, that we're a failed state. He's just echoing what, people in alternative media and people who are allowed to have alternative opinions still, and people who are, voicing those opinions are saying about the U.S., that we're falling apart. This is what happens when corruption gets to run amok and takes over the government, takes over everything else, and you deregulate everything, and you allow the people in charge to do whatever they want. At the cost of everyone else. Yeah, I don't think Trump is operating in good faith, Nadia, but he's mouthing a lot of the right words, and that is a problem, right? Because people are going to go, "Oh, he seems to know what's going on." I don't know. Maybe RFK will mouth the right words too, but maybe he'll mean it. I'm not sure. Jackson, Mississippi, reeling from a clean water crisis. Sees a sudden end to trash collection. America is collapsing before our very eyes. Our leadership cares more about their self-interest than the needs and will of its people. I mean, we're going to, I don't know. I think, we're going to have to get out there and demand that some people face some consequences. That Nancy Pelosi is, broken a lot of laws and should go to jail. That Joe Biden has broken a lot of laws and should go to jail. That all kinds of people have broken many laws and should go to jail, not just Trump. Anyways. Residents of Mississippi's capital are scrambling to figure out what to do with their trash after garbage collection abruptly ended this week as contract negotiations failed between the mayor and the city council. Stacks of cardboard boxes and black plastic garbage bags lined resident. Oh, I mean, it sounds like they're in a contract dispute. Which is, good if they're not being treated well. That's what's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to let, your employer take advantage of you if they're going to continue, just to keep things going. Well, we got to keep things going. Well, I mean, that's what's supposed to happen is strikes. The end of business as usual so that you can, push back a little bit. The sudden end of trash hauling services in Jackson is one of the latest problems to plague the city, which is already roiled by gun violence, unpredictable access to clean drinking water, and crumbling, pothole-riddled streets. More than a quarter of the residents in the state's predominantly black capital live in poverty. Many Jacksonians rely on public transportation or neighbors' goodwill for rides, which makes it difficult to bring their trash to a drop-off point. Anyways, yeah, they are having a hard time deciding who should pick up the trash. It's unfortunate. I hope that they find a solution soon to that. Obama, yeah, we could just go back down the list. Clinton, Bush, definitely Bush. Did you see the video about somebody asking yeah, you're right. Denver for sure. The townspeople might want to start their own trash pickup cooperative. There you go. I bet you can't do that. I bet there's a law against that. I bet that, I bet if you tried to do that, they'd say, like, no, you can't do that. Or we won't allow you to bring the trash to the dump or something like that. But who knows? Maybe they can go around it. That sounds like a good idea. Others have opted to pay companies to pick up their refuse. Some business owners have begun offering trash pickup to residents for as little as $15 a week. There you go. Right? For those business minded, if somebody has a truck, they'll, you could somebody has a truck, you can go around and offer your services. There's, for the entrepreneurial minded. You can move to Jackson, Mississippi, and start a trash collection company. But, again, they probably won't allow. They probably wouldn't allow you, or, they'd charge you double to get into the dump. Because you're not a officially credited service provider of the city of Jackson, Mississippi. All right. I'm going to keep going. Tim says, find a pokey stick and get busy. Okay. Did you guys, this is an interesting story. The Earth has a heartbeat. Did you already know this? Do you feel this? Anyways, breaking news in Gaia theory. Earth has a beating heart and a pulse. In case you were case you're interested. There's the Earth emits a pulse every 26 seconds, and no one exactly knows why. They don't know why. A microseism is a faint seismic signal that can be detected by sensitive instruments. There's a 26-second pulse. It was first discovered in the early 1960s. He traced the source. This is from Jack Oliver, a geologist at Columbia University, who noticed a strange blip on a seismogram every 26 seconds. He traced the source to somewhere in the southern or equatorial Atlantic Ocean and found that it was stronger during the northern hemisphere's summer months. Despite decades of research, there is no consensus on what causes the Earth to emit a pulse every 26 seconds. Some scientists think it is related to ocean waves hitting the continental shelf in the Gulf of Guinea. The shape and orientation of this underwater feature could create a resonance that produces a harmonic vibration in the Earth's crust. However, this theory does not explain why the pulse is stronger during certain seasons or why it has not changed over time, despite variations in sea level, wave patterns, and climate. Another possible explanation is the pulse is caused by volcanic activity. What do you think? That doesn't sound likely. Really? Every 26 seconds. It's pretty regular, right? Okay. Just letting you know that the Earth has a pulse. I did not know that. Every 26 seconds, there's a small seismic pulse. Ooh. I mean, doesn't it make sense that the Earth is alive? Why wouldn't it be alive? It's a lot of, I mean, it's a lot of living things on the planet. Gene says they just figured out plate tectonics a few decades ago. That's true, right? Science. There's a lot that science doesn't know. But the science is settled. But there's a lot that science doesn't know. There's a lot that science does know. There's a drought in Florida, and some very hot temperatures going on around the planet this year. Deebs asks, any idea what the frequency and wavelength is? I don't know if they say anything about that. They don't. They don't say anything about that. Anyways, in Florida, there is a pretty massive drought, and there's drought in a lot of places around the planet. Orlando has hottest start to the year on record with less than 2 inches of rain this year. Orlando is enduring its second driest stretch from January 1st to April 5th since the late 1800s, and also its hottest on record. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I can't even. Somebody with a handle on Colin that I can't even repeat because it's lies. Lies about what? Tell me what the lies are exactly. I don't know. When people just, this person isn't even a real person, probably. Probably one of them professional trolls. Florida's brutal drought worsens. Orlando's hottest start to year on record. The city, Central Florida, and much of the state's peninsula are experiencing a widening severe drought, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor, a collaboration of universities and federal environmental agencies. When was the last time it rained, said Fran Botcher, a master gardener at the Orange County and University of Florida Agricultural Extension Center. Who can remember? In Orlando, the last measurable rain was 25 days ago, when just 0.15 inches barely wet. That is actually really bizarre. I'm familiar with that part of Florida. Orlando's, fairly close. I mean, Florida in general gets a lot of rain, right? It's closer to the equator. It's a little more tropical than other parts of the country, and it gets a lot of rain historically. There's a lot of rain in Florida, so that's pretty bizarre. The drought monitor is updated weekly on Thursday mornings. The newest report shows 55% of Florida under severe drought now, up from 20% at the start of this year, and less than 1% last year at this time. Typically, April is a tough month for lawns and landscaping, as spring brings hotter weather but not much rain. On average, the dry season transitions to the rainy season in Orlando on May 27th, or 5 days before the Atlantic hurricane season begins. Speaking of Atlantic hurricane season, it seems like there might be a hurricane forming. And this is a very odd time for a hurricane to form, but maybe we'll talk about that. He said crops and pastures are wilting, wildlife danger is on the rise, and groundwater levels are receding. The long-range outlook, according to the U.S. Climate Prediction Center, is for rainfall to get back on track by the end of June. But with global heating stirring the climate pot, weather has been wickedly fickle during the past half year. Hurricane Ian brought widespread flooding and record rainfall to Central Florida in late September. By early October, the Florida peninsula was entirely drought-free, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor, while much of the West, and especially California, were dealing with brutally dry conditions. Anyways, they're talking about how bad this is for people's lawns, so that's important. Let's see. Let's see if we can find this. Story of a rare April subtropical storm may brew in the Gulf of Mexico next week. Or I guess it's not a hurricane, but tropical storm. Rare April subtropical storm may brew in Gulf of Mexico next week. Water temperatures will play a factor in the potential storm's development. Regardless of the storm's strength, areas of heavy rain are expected for a large portion of the South next week. Well, maybe they will get out of that. Maybe they'll get a little relief from the drought. Rare April subtropical storm. Yeah, this is not generally a time when there's the tropical storms or the hurricanes. Water temperatures will play a factor. Blah, blah, blah. Keep saying the same things over and over again. It is generally a rare occurrence for tropical depressions or storms to form in April. But it has happened over the years. The most recent named storm to form in April was Tropical Storm Arlene, which formed over the central Atlantic in 2017. However, no tropical systems have ever been documented in the Gulf of Mexico during April. Interestingly enough, the first name on the list that will be used to identify 2023 Atlantic storm is Arlene. So we might see a first this year. The first tropical storm or subtropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico in April. Any betters? What's the over under on subtropical storm Arlene forming in April? All right, cool. We got people watching on Rockfin. We got people listening on Callin. And we got people on the YouTubes. And got a couple more minutes. Let's see. Roger Hallam, this year's grain crop is already predicted to be a third of last year's. This is in Tunisia. A third of last year's. No water for farmers means no food, meaning social unrest. The ecological crisis and the social crisis are one crisis. So there is drought in other parts of the world too. I don't like to see this Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation crap on the side of this story. You guys can piss off. Tunisia has introduced water rationing as the country suffers its fourth year of severe drought. The state water distribution company Sonede has already begun cutting main water supplies every night between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. The Agriculture Ministry has now banned the use of water for irrigation, watering green spaces and other public areas, and for washing cars. Reservoirs across the country are said to be about 30% short of capacity. Levels at the Sidi Salem Reservoir, which serves the north of the country, including Tunis, are only about 16% full. Tunisia has always relied heavily on capturing surface water for its supplies, leaving it especially vulnerable to shortages of rainfall driven by the climate crisis. In the past 4 years, the Mediterranean region has had blistering summers, mild winters, and relatively little rain. And there are very warm temperatures across that region as well. Yeah, I you know, I just they you know, they're mucking up everything. Those folks. I want to you know, climate change is real. We don't need it brought to you by Bill and Melinda Gates. We really don't. They're not helping. They're not helpful. Just go away. Take your money and just go away. Just get out of here. Get out of here. Bill and Melinda Gates. Just go away. Yeah, let's talk about Ukraine for just a second before we go. FYI from Jimmy Dore, FYI, you're being lied to about Ukraine just like you were lied to about Iraq, Libya, Syria, Yemen. Oh, did you hear that Saudi Arabia is going to have a peace accord, or they're going to stop warring on Yemen? That's interesting. Syria, Yemen, and Afghanistan for 20 years. And once again, the American people fall for it. They totally do. It's not just Americans. How many knucklehead knuckleheads out there have Ukrainian flags in their Twitter bio. How many people are out there still like, yeah, Putin is unprovoked war. Putin is evil, or Ukraine. You don't know what you are talking about. Anyways, pranksters posing as Petro Poroshenko got French ex-president Francois Hollande to admit the Minsk Accords were a NATO ruse to militarize Ukraine, and Western nations overthrew Ukraine's democratically elected government in 2014. Wow. Yeah. There's history there. You have to be you can't have historical amnesia if you want to understand what's going on in the world. If you want to understand, that it's silly to prosecute Trump for the things you're trying to get him on, but maybe there's some other things you can get him on. But you should let Clinton, Bush, Obama, Bush Senior, Reagan, you should let all of them skate. I mean, whatever. Not all of them are still around, but you have to understand what's going on in the world, and you have to understand what has gone on historically. I'm sure it's helpful to have historical amnesia, because then you can just go, what? What's happening? Oh, that's bad. Hope they send him some money. Or something. Anyways, to paraphrase, he says, or not paraphrase, I'm going to read this. Hold on. When we signed the Minsk agreements, we knew that war would be inevitable. This is what he's saying. But we had to prepare for all those years, grow our army to be prepared for this war. Minsk agreements gave us time to arm ourselves. Wow. Angela told about that recently. Yes, she was right to say that, because everybody thought it was Putin to want to win time. No, it was us to win time to give Ukraine an opportunity to recover, to improve its military capabilities. Wow. He's given up the ghost, and that's exact reason. And that's the exact reason why we should defend the Minsk agreements, in which you played a big role. He thinks he's talking to Petro Poroshenko. They have to be defended because during those 7 years, Ukraine got the resources to strengthen itself. Another thing in which we outplayed Putin, except for Minsk agreements, is the year 2013, when we managed to overthrow Yanukovych, and we managed to hand over Ukraine to the EU. Wow. Yes, I think you played a big role in that back then. So this is awesome that people are getting on the line somehow with these very powerful folks and getting them to disclose what everybody knows, what people were paying attention know. Anyways. I still remember how you came to the Élysée Palace with Bernard-Henri Lévy. And you were followed by Klitschko. And it happened in the very beginning of the process. And if you weren't there, there wouldn't be a Maidan. Wow. Well, there you go. Yeah. If you keep falling for the same, okey doke, Lucy holding the football. Come on, Charlie Brown. This time but that's what the American people keep doing. When Osama bin Laden was supposedly killed and people were dancing in the streets, during Obama's presidency, people were like out cheering in the streets. That's when I knew. Faceplant. That Americans are certified morons. I mean, I think I knew before that, but but that was a clincher. Like, really, really, you're like cheering and dancing, and you're out. This is yeah, yay, okay. You guys have no idea. Like, all y'all don't know anything about nothing. Great. Um. Okay, I got to wrap up the show. William, I saw you wanted to call in, but I don't know if you're still wanting to call in for a second. I do have to wrap up the show. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. What's up, William? I'll see if I can hear you. Keep talking because I can't hear you.
Okay.
There. Oh, hold on. Almost got you in there. Are you there? Hello? William? Shoot. William, are you there?
Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Right. We sound like a commercial.
Right.
Here we go. Yeah. First of all, wasn't Osama bin Laden CIA trained Tom
Tim Osman.
Tim Osman. Okay, thank you for correcting me. Right? And of course, the fight. He was an Afghan freedom fighter. To fight the Russians. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Hillary Clinton, of course, even testified in the Senate that. Well, now we're fighting the people we trained. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, even that's propaganda. Oh my
Well,
God.
and interestingly enough, the whole that whole ISIS stuff started under Obama,
Yeah.
right? Remember the beheading videos and like people were, oh,
Yeah.
ISIS, oh my God, they're it's like, no, they're Al Qaeda, they're the same,
Yeah.
they're our guys, and they're stealing.
Exactly.
There was a woman, I forget her name, who was killed, a reporter killed in Turkey, who was covering. This is what was happening. So we were funding ISIS. ISIS went in, took over the Syrian oil fields, stole their oil, and were basically selling it to us, right, or just giving it to us on the cheap, right? So
Right.
they were basically going in there, keeping the oil fields going, and then shipping the oil out through Turkey, and we were buying it, for like pennies on the dollar, right? We were buying it on the cheap, and that was the game. That was the game. We backed ISIS. ISIS was
Right.
our thing, and there was a reporter who was covering this, and she was killed. She died.
For telling we can't have those reporters out
Serena
there.
Shim, yes, Denver Attaway knows who I was talking about. Yeah, Serena Shim was
Wow.
covering the story, and but I mean, it was also obvious.
Yeah.
Because they were like, ISIS is getting this oil out here, and then there was another story I saw where like, the U.S. is loading up its, oil barges in Turkey, and I was like, really? There's there must be a connection. No, okay. It was kind of after a while it became obvious what was happening, but just for anybody who knows, it's just ISIS is the same as Al Qaeda, is the same as
Right.
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 And it's all
Well,
the
we
same.
have the
It's all the
Wah-
same thing,
Yes, and the Wahhabi terrorists out of where? Saudi Arabia.
right?
Right? Where we sell our arms to for the petrodollar, and they turn their arms over to the Wahhabis, and they cycle the arms back out to these splinter groups. The whole thing is like, all wars are bankers' wars. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's all about the petrodollar. It's all about the bankers. It's all about financing both sides of every word, apparently, to create the need for the IMF to go in there and bail people out and then have them indebted. You know what I mean?
Right.
Isn't that the game?
Right.
As far as I understand it, maybe I don't have the whole picture, but there's a lot more to it. Obviously, it could be a long something we don't have time for right now, but and so I'm totally on board with you, and it's maddening because I can't talk to any of the people here because Bridgeport was the manufacturing hub of New England for the wars, the original war, right? World War One and Two. So you have a lot of generational nationalism. You know what I mean?
Right. And you don't, if you end the wars, then you're ending jobs, right?
Right. Well, they outsourced most of those jobs. Even most of the Sikorsky's jobs went to Turkey. A lot of them,
Right.
the manufacturing.
Right.
So that's right in the neighboring town of Stratford. And so, of course, why are people loyal to a government that leaves their cities Superfund hellholes with sacrifice zones all over? You know what I mean? And outsourced and leave the cancer clusters behind. I'm a little confused. How about you? I mean, what does it take to wait? I mean, is it? Let me ask you something. Do you think that the majority of people are really that brainwashed? Do you think that's just the way that the media is presenting it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if we could somehow poll the average people around the country and not have it distorted. If we'd find most people feel like you and me, or most people uneducated, I don't really, or just, I don't know. What do you think?
I actually think that, yes, there are a lot of people who are walking around in a trance and who have historical amnesia. There are a lot of those.
Yeah.
There are quite a few people who are awake, and that's why. I mean, that's why Bernie Sanders and Trump were so popular in 2016,
Right.
because they were, because they were saying true things about power, and people were like, right there, and they really, really had to do a lot to try and tell people that, no, these aren't the droids you are looking for, right? These move along. Yeah. They really had to do a lot to do that, but they couldn't necessarily squash that, and a lot of people still, I don't know. I wish I could find this video of this guy asking these people who are out. Oh, I mean, but you have so much brainwashing going on right now that it's even worse now because everything's. Trump actually fractionalized a lot. He did a good job of like polarizing people who understood the truth of a lot of things that are going on, right? Because Trump is just so egregious. On some levels, it's weird because Trump appeals to like people who understand what's really going on, but he also in some ways like splits that group of people, right? Because he is so horrific to some people that they're like, yeah, I know what's going on, but F that guy, right? So I don't know. And you can actually get people like in this video by Revolutionary Blackout Network. He says liberals are the most pathetic, brainwashed people. Watch this video and you see why the United States is the most propagandized country in the world. So there's these people who are like, yeah, Trump, needs to go down, and they ask him about Bush, and they're like, no, Bush is fine, right? This is TDR at work.
So do you think he'll be found guilty?
If justice is served, he will be for this and all the other crimes that he's done.
So do you think we should arrest George Bush next?
Why? What about this? What's this whataboutism? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, but should we? I mean, if we're going to hold people accountable.
You know better than that?
You don't think we should?
I'm not going to be baited by you. I don't care what you think.
It's whataboutism. If you want to hold Bush accountable for killing 1 million Iraqis, it's whataboutism. But of course, paying off a porn star, these are high crimes, right? Whatever.
Okay, so you don't think we should arrest George Bush for more?
Anyways, I'll stop playing that. It just gets worse. It gets worse.
Yeah, of course. There's so many that Trump did as president that violated, international war crimes. I mean, as usual, it's typical U.S. president. But hey, don't forget, who was it? Pompeo, who threatened the international criminal courts if they ever prosecuted anyone from our country in the government. You remember that?
Right.
Right? literally talks about being world terrorists. I mean, you can't bring anybody before the International Criminal Courts or the Hague because we'll bomb you. We'll hit you, we'll take you out, whatever it takes. You remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I want to add one last thing because I know you want to wrap it up. Remember, I was talking about Corrupticate. There's a new report out where this oversight committee in the public defender's office, like 4 of the people in mass resigned in protest. And there's not much more information on it right now, other than Attorney General Tong has hired a law firm to look into it. Why a law firm? Why not his own office? I don't understand it. The Attorney General's office. How about a freaking investigation from the Attorney General's office? Oh, we're going to hire a separate law firm. But this just happened. Remember I was telling you about Corrupticate yesterday? This just made the I just found it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Unfortunately, I have to look into it.
Oh, I put a link in the chat. I'm just saying, for example, the corruption is so steep that you have people in positions of oversight who resign in mass. That red flag, just like the CDC. Remember when you had that happen? When you had a bunch of CDC people resigning on the oh, look here, this is a problem. We can't get anywhere through the normal channels. We have to resign in mass to get some attention. To get
and to go back to that, the CDC people resigning in protest over over the booster, right? Over
approving it for kids. Go ahead.
Yeah, they were endorsing the booster for children or whatever, and they were like, no, I don't think this is right. And they were like, no, we're going to do it anyways. And sorry, people who, long-standing members of this board here who are very high esteem. You're not in high esteem anymore, so take a hike. Yeah, man.
And nothing really changed after that. Just replaced them with puppets and, move on.
Right, exactly. We'll get you out of here, and we'll, it's like Phil Donahue, or anybody who was against the Iraq War.
Yes.
Oh, we don't care that you've been here for 20 years and are a mainstay on our television channel and have great ratings and people really love you and look. We don't care about any of that. You're out of here. You questioned the wrong thing, pal. Bye.
And what a message to all the other broadcasters.
Right, exactly.
We'll take the top one out.
This is what you're going to get.
Yeah. So it suppresses everybody.
Yep.
And everybody gets frightened. Now you got this, help me out.
That's what they're trying to do to alternative media too, right? Squash your reach, control, what people can see of your content, and tell you don't get any subscribers every month, and tell you don't get any views on your videos, and blah 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 blah. It's on and on.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the I'm having a little moment here. I can't remember. It starts with a D. They just tried to pass it through, or they wrote the bill. What is it? The act where they're going to try and limit. You were talking about it. Try and limit.
Restrict Act.
Restrict. Oh, starts with an R. That's right. So I was on the wrong line there. Restrict. I mean, I can't even remember the name of it. It's so bizarre. How can they possibly do this?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Freedom of speech. Be gone. Gone.
Right.
We're going to restrict.
Right. They didn't put a cute name on that one. They were just like restrict. How about calling it the Silence Act? Silence.
Exactly.
All right. Hey man, I got to take off, but thanks for calling in.
Yeah, same here. Good talking to you, Kev. Bye.
All right. Peace out. Everybody, thank you for hanging out. I got to take off. And I've already gone much too late in the day. I got things to do. But as you know, a good way to support the show. BuyMeACoffee.com/BlackBearNews, Patreon/BlackBearNews, Venmo, and Cash App links in the description box. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow at the regular time. Until next time, peace out.